What the is leadership? Thought-provoking conversations with expert leadership scholars, exceptional leadership practitioners, and other extraordinary individuals. Good day. My name is Jonathan Kroll, and I'm the Executive Director and a lead trainer of the Leadership Trainer Certification Program. And I am so excited for our conversation with Joe Discepola, who is a phenomenal personal injury attorney and a good friend of mine in South Florida. Joe, thanks for being here. Welcome.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. So we start this show the same way every time. We ask leadership. So what leadership?
It's a good question, John. I think there's all different definitions of it depending on what your context is. You could talk about right now, there's a big question about what kind of leadership do we have in the country. You could have leadership of an organization if you're a private business. You could talk about leadership on your sports team. That could come from the coach, the captains. So it really just depends. But I think the kind of core theme of what the fuck is leadership is really just, I think it's really kind of influencing people with a sense of direction and purpose, that, on a very basic level. So if you talk about leadership of the country, well, that's a pretty big role, and that just doesn't come from the president. That comes from the representatives that are elected, governors, mayors at the local level, other community leaders. So what does it mean? It's to basically set things in motion in a direction, in a trajectory that's hopefully of a shared purpose. We all want to be healthy. We all want to have good jobs. We all want to be protected. We all want to have rights and freedoms. So everyone's got to kind of work together, and there's people that kind of set that vision, other people that support those people that set that vision. And it's no different than the first sports team, right? You want to win games. You want to be the best team, win as much as you can, be good sportsmen and women. And so it's through hard work, training, practice, things like that. But you don't just do that. You have to feel solid in the reasons why you're doing that. You have to have good chemistry, good camaraderie when you do all of that. So I think when you talk about leadership, it's a matter of someone who has a higher level of skill, someone who has maybe more experience, because the people underneath them or that are going to be buying into this idea of what it means to succeed. If you don't believe that practice is going to make you better, then you're not going to want to do it. Mm-hmm. So you have to lead by example and show the benefits of going to practice, eating well, sleeping well, training hard. And I guess it's the same thing with regard to any other area of an organization. Why do people want to put the hours in? Why are they going to transfer into a new operating system, a new software program? You do it because you think that it has value. It's going to be more efficient, maybe more cost effective. And so the people who ultimately make those decisions are typically in the role of leadership. So it's almost like the people that tell people what to do are quote unquote the leaders. And some of those people don't have maybe the skills to influence, to guide, and to inspire those people that are on their team to then accomplish whatever shared goals and objectives there are. So I guess in a nutshell, it's leadership are the people that are the decision makers who should have more experience and expertise in an area, that are trying to rally their quote unquote troops to work towards a shared vision or goal that people find to be mutually beneficial. And there's a lot of kind of general words there, and I could do more examples, but that's to me what it basically is in a way.
Yeah, well, I love that, and it also sounds like underneath this description is this notion that leadership is an incredibly relational process, and so of the leader engaging with the follower, the supporter. And so how does a leader cultivate the relationships necessary to influence the type of change that you're speaking of?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of things. One, it goes back to the expertise and experience, people that have been there and done that and have a higher level of skill. I think people look to them for answers, and if this person is operating at this level, they must know what they're talking about. But there also has to be a level of credibility, right? The people have to believe that person, and there is a sense of likability. You're going to want to work towards a goal and share a goal with somebody that you like. If you really resent that person, you're going to have strong, independent motivations that even though you hate them, you have to work with them to deal with it. But there could be more personality conflicts, ego conflicts that get in the way and may cause certain inefficiencies. Like you may not have the good juju and energy and synergy that you need when you have a good relational workspace. But I think that's it. I think it's really connecting, understanding each other, respecting each other, and I guess taking each other, being believable. It's an interesting study where it just came out that Last Dance with Michael Jordan. He had the experience and expertise. He was better than everybody, but his teammates kind of hated him, right? Because he bullied them, he talked trash, he was on them. I guess the greater good was he pushed them, and their record speaks for itself, like 6 championships. But I don't think he was well liked. But they also, I think everyone respected him because he was the best. So that's not to say the only way for them to have won would be by Michael Jordan being a jerk. But that's one type of leadership. He was a leader of that team. So was Phil Jackson. Because they both had a lot of experience, one with coaching, one with playing and understanding the game. And so,
and what was interesting about that is the first 3 championships, he played as the hero, the sole superstar that guided, the team to win. When he came back, based on conversations with Phil Jackson, the system changed and he played. I mean, he was still an exceptional superstar and was able to command the court whenever he stepped on, but he was much more collective in his approach, really maximizing the potential of his teammates for the second 3 championships than the first 3, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that there's something to we've always heard about the chemistry of a team, right? And do they have a good chemistry? Is everyone pushing each other in the right directions? I guess if you think of it as an energy, what's the greatest energy? What's the greatest efficiency? It's helping each other reach each other's potential, but as long as that potential is all directed towards the same shared goal, right? I know in my personal life playing sports, I've seen it good and bad. And I think about it's going as far back as high school. There was a team when I played soccer in the fall. The grade ahead of us had probably some more individually talented players, but they didn't go as far because they all had egos, right? Everyone wanted different stats. They didn't want to pass the ball. In the following year, my grade, we won the state championship because everyone played as a team.
Yeah.
There was more cohesion. And the individual talent may not have been there, but the team chemistry was far superior, and we won, and we just kept winning. And so I always kind of learned from that, thinking about how over the last 20 plus years since I've graduated, about how that whole team chemistry really elevates the potential of the group versus each person wanting, even if there might be some more talented players. It's almost like a cannibalism of the team's potential by certain people not being good teammates.
Yeah. So what would you say are 2 or 3 essential practices that an individual should be doing if they want to excel at leading?
I think living by example, right? I guess I never really thought about hero practices for leadership, but I think that effective leaders is to be the kind of person that you think would inspire you and others. So if that's a matter of being good at your job, having a certain level of experience or expertise, being honest, being accountable, be the way you want other people to be. I always found that was an effective thing to do. It's almost like the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated, but it's different in the sense that you want to serve as kind of like a role model.
Which means you need to really be connected to your own values and authenticity.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I think that other practices as far as being a leader is you have to communicate with people. You want to understand what motivates them, what moves them, what they like, what they don't like, and figure out where their interests may align or their skills may align. So I think it's really knowing who you're working with. So getting to know people, connecting them with them, when you talked about it as like the relational aspect of a team and leadership, I think that's one other way to do it. And I think one other practice is really just having, I mean, it's almost like what Albert Einstein used to do. He used to have like these thought experiments and just think deeply about situations and problems. I think one practice could be like always thinking of ways to innovate or improve whatever it is. If it's your sports team, if it's your organization, if it's your religious community, whatever it is, think about what problems do we face, how can we improve, what do we do well, and then also think about like, how do we solve that? Who do we have on the team, or who do we need to get on the team to get that done? So I think summing that up is really kind of being a problem solver. So if I had to pick three off the top, of my head, that'd be it.
I love it. And I'm so appreciative of this conversation and your insight. And I always like to leave the guest with the last word about what leadership. So what would you like to offer the audience?
I haven't thought about that, quite frankly, but I guess the one thing I would say is just, be true to yourself. Whether not everyone needs to lead at all. It's not like everyone should strive for leadership, but I think to be effective part of any team, whether it's in a participant / follower or leader, which is also a participant, just be true to yourself and in whatever role that is.
Joe, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, John.
Thanks for joining this conversation on what the leadership is. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to check out leadershiptrainer.org for all of your leadership training, programming, and resources.